Okay, everybody. Circumference area and volume day 8. This is the last day of this chapter. So after day 8, you're going to be having a test on circumference area and volume days 7 and 8. And then after that, we will be moving on to a new topic. But anyways, day 8 is surface areas and volumes of spheres. So first of all, we're going to remember a sphere. A sphere is a ball, essentially. On a sphere, if you look at your picture, you have your center and you have your radius. Those are the two biggest things you have to remember. Now, another thing I want to remind you is if we take our sphere, our entire thing called the Great Circle, and we cut it in half, now we have two hemispheres. Okay, so top and bottom hemisphere. If we are going to find the surface area, remember surface area is the amount on the outside. It's the part that you can kind of touch the ball with your hands as if you were wrapping it like a birthday or Christmas present. Okay, how much wrapping paper would you need to go around the sphere? The surface area of a sphere can be found by taking 4 times pi times the radius squared. Okay, so 4 pi r squared. Examples. Find the surface area of the sphere. So surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. Now the first thing I'm looking at is I know that I'm going to need the radius. I'm looking at my sphere. Was I given the radius? And the answer is no. You were given the diameter. We need the radius, which is just half of that. So we're going to take 3. We're going to cut it in half. And we're going to get 1.5. So surface area is 4 pi times 1.5 squared. So grab your calculator. 4 times 3.14 times 1.5 squared. And I'm getting 28.26. And then we're dealing with feet. And this is squared, because we're dealing with surface area, and you're done. Next one, find the surface area of the sphere. So surface area is 4 pi r squared. Radius. On this particular picture, were we given the radius? The answer is yes, so we're good to go. Surface area is 4 times 3.14 times the radius squared, and then grab your calculator. 4 times 3.14 times 8 squared, and I'm getting 803.84 inches squared. Next one, using a little bit of application here. Find the diameter of the sphere if the surface area is 20.25 pi centimeters squared. Okay, so the first thing I'm looking at is we're given the surface area. So I know the surface area is 4 pi r squared. And I'm going to fill in what I know. So I know the surface area, that big S, is 20.25 pi. Okay, now I know it has centimeters squared, but that's just your units, so you don't need to substitute that into the equation. Equals 4 pi, and this time I'm going to leave pi as pi, and the reason is because if you look at the other side of the equation, there's a pi there. Okay, so I'm hoping something happens with those pi's, times the radius squared. And I don't know the radius because I'm looking at my picture, and they haven't given it to me, so I'm just going to leave it as a variable. So I'm trying to find the diameter. I'm looking at my equation. I don't know the radius, but I bet if I could find the radius, I could then use that to get the diameter. So if I want to get the radius by itself, and I have 4 pi in front of it, I can just divide both sides of the equation by 4 pi. 4's will cancel, pi will cancel. Then over here, that pi will also cancel, so the only thing we really need to figure out is 20.25 divided by 4. So 20.25 divided by 4 is 5.25 2.0625 equals, and then the only thing I have left is r squared. Now I have to get rid of the squared. Opposite of squaring is square root. So the squared will cancel the square root, and I'll be left with r. So I'm going to take the square root of 5.0625, which is 2.25, which is the radius of my sphere. So I'm going to come back here, 2.25. But they said they wanted the diameter. So the diameter is the whole way across. So if that's 2.25, then that's 2.25. So we're going to take 2.25 times 2, or you could just add it, 2.25 plus 2.25. So the diameter is 4.5 centimeters. Next one, find the radius of the sphere if the surface area is 30 pi meters squared. So same idea, except instead of finding the diameter, we want to find the radius this time. So surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. Surface area, they told us, was 30 pi, so I'm going to substitute in 30 pi equals. Now again, I know they've got this meters squared on here, but that's just the units. You don't need that when you put it in the equation. 4 pi r squared. And again, I don't know r, that's what I'm trying to find. So if I'm trying to get the radius by itself, we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 4 pi. This will cancel, 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 this will cancel. So now we have to take 30 divided by 4, which is 7.5, equals r squared. And then in order to get rid of a squared, we're going to square root. The square root cancels the squared, and you just get r. And then we're taking the square root of 7.5, which is 2.7386. And they did not tell us what to round to, so I'm just going to round to the nearest tenth. The 3 tells me to keep my 7 there. So 2.7 meters is your radius. And this time they only wanted the radius, so we don't have to do anything with that. You don't have to double it, you don't have to do anything funny. It's just 2.7.